fat stack something when he's rolling up. I don't know.
I'm
like, excuse me, you're a hell of a guy. I'm like, my
like pelican fly, you mean? It's so shine, I'm loving your tie. Like slicker than a guy with a tongue in his eye on. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Somebody please tell him who the F.I. is. I am Nicki Minaj. I make the dudes up. Back dudes up and check the dudes up. Boy, you got my heartbeat running away. Spinning like a drum when it's coming your way. Can't you hear that boom, 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 boom? Hey, he's got that super bass. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, he's got that super bass.
Would probably be better.
Fight Night, serious business. StarCraft Arcade Edition premieres March 10th on ESGN TV.
Can't you hear that boom, 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 boom?
We hope you've prepared for more Fight Night.
Welcome to the desk. My name is Dan Cho, and I'm joined by Crip. You're back for another week of casting. Hooray. Awesome. I couldn't be more excited to have you on the desk as well. Now, we do have to introduce Fight Night once again to anybody who might be tuning in for the first time. We're going to play some good old Hearthstone, but it's team format, 4v4. But this time, it's a little bit different from last week, Crip. How is it?
Well, we have a lot of added pressure. This time around, we've restricted what kind of decks they can play because we've eliminated the option of playing the decks that they played in the last season of Fight Night.
Even if they haven't played it.
Exactly. So, you know, if, for instance, they went 3-0, they only showed one deck, even the two that, you know, didn't get an appearance, those classes also cannot be played. And what ends up happening is because, we do this all at the same time, all at once, and they're such under a time restraint. I remember this morning just talking to most of the players, and I believe almost all of them didn't even have a third deck, and this is just a few hours ago.
That's right, they were scrambling.
Yes, so today is going to be a true test. There's much higher pressure, and the players are not going to be as familiar with what they're doing as they were last time. So I think we'll see, the players who have very good, very strong general knowledge of the game shine today.
Should be a good time. Now, the first match we have is Artosis versus Koyuki. Artosis has a lot to redeem himself from the last time we saw him play. He's up against probably one of the best players on the opposing team, Koyuki.
Certainly, if we take a look at what happened in the last season of Fight Night, I believe Koyuki probably made among the better showing in Liquid Value. And as far as Artosis is concerned, well, he had
not his best performance.
He had some very creative plays. It was very difficult to anticipate what he was going to do. Yes, certainly.
Yeah. Well, that's what it might take to defeat a player like Koyuki. Game number 1 is about to begin, so let's jump in on the action. All right, so right away we have Druid versus Shaman. Artosis will be playing the Druid, Koyuki on the Shaman. And what do you think about this matchup overall for the classes?
Well, the decks both look very standard. So, in this case, you're looking at two very, very popular, very top decks. And as a result, it probably favors the Shaman by a few percentage points. But in this case, I think the matchup is going to be trumped by the plays, as both decks are very late game and very complicated stuff can come.
And we've been seeing these decks also have a lot to do with how the early game develops with cards like Nat Pagels and getting the draws and being able to develop your hand a lot better and your preparation for almost anything that comes.
Well, no crazy Pagel plays this time around, but we may be able to see some creatures here with the Feral Spirits in a turn. Feral Spirit is not really a card you'd really want to coin out, because if you do that, you're on 1 mana the turn after.
Yeah, you have no turn for turn 3.
Right,
basically.
because of the overload. So Feral Spirit's a good card to play on 3, especially if you have the coin, because you can extend with the Hex if you have to.
And it's a good response to cards like this. The Harvest Golem puts a good front line.
It's a fair response. The Harvest Golem's actually quite good against it because the Druid can pair his hero ability. So
that's a good point.
It's a pretty even challenge. On one hand, you have a stronger board right away, but the Harvest Golem would tend to survive, and the overload of the Feral Spirit kind of matches the forceful use of the hero power.
That's right. And now, we have 2 responses here from Artosis as well. You can Wrath, double Wrath, in fact, if he really wants to.
I think the double Wrath play is a little wasteful.
Yeah.
His hand is pretty good right now. Like, he's got some mid game. He doesn't have to use it even.
And what's interesting is he also has Ascension Shield Master, a card we don't see too often in Constructed. A lot in Arena because it's a solid value. But what's your opinion on incorporating the Druid?
Well, I've heard a few things about this card just in the last few days with Hunter being as dominant as it is. The Hunter's not quite capable of dealing 5 damage without using Kill Command, and because they don't often populate the board every turn from the last, Kill Command is essentially a 2-card combo when you play a Beast and Kill Command the unit. So what Senjin usually does is it stops a lot of the Hunter aggression, and it almost always gets 2 cards.
That's a very important factor if it was to carry over into any of the Hunter decks, which, by the way, we do see some of these
will not be happening. Oh, it will actually.
Well, we'll see how things develop, right?
We'll see how fortunate Koyuki is.
And Artosis draws his second Senjin Shield Master, which is also nice.
Yeah, the Senjin is very good at killing those Spirit Wolves. Spirit Wolves is a good card in general, but the problem is if you play a creature just a little bit bigger than it, you can usually kill both for free.
There's a nice incorporation of things like the Farseer to even heal up as well.
Yeah, Artosis didn't have to make this play, but he really wants to show board dominance here. It's pretty good for the Druid to just continue developing the board the whole time, especially against the Shaman, where he's trying to do the same.
Yep.
But, you know, the Shaman might have some resets here. We know that he doesn't, but I'd see loading up the board with, you know, some 3 toughness creatures. You'd kind of want to limit that. Like, I don't know if I'd play another 3 toughness creature right now.
So in this regard, you think you're dropping the Azure... Oh, well, actually, he has a Coin and Karn's option as well.
The Karn is pretty good. I mean, even if he gets silenced, you're kind of going to do something. If he gets silenced, it's going to hit the Senjin and the Harvest Golem. Not really that great, but since he doesn't have a silence, this is going to end quite well.
Swipe draw, which is pretty useful against Shaman generally, but I'm not sure in this position it's very good.
I think it is.
Do you?
Yeah, because you can attack the Cairn with Senjin and the Harvest Golem. The Harvest Golem does die, but he comes in a second form, and because of the taunt, he's not really that easy to kill. And you can finish off the second version of Cairn with a hero ability swipe. So you're dealing with Cairn, you're wasting like half a Harvest Golem and a swipe. That's actually very good, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, that changes my opinion as well, I guess, when you put it like that. Just because I felt like there's better ways to utilize swipe against some of the other creatures that we have from Shaman. But now we have Artosis really mulling his ideas. Do you think not using his hero power in combination with swipe is, in terms of taking the damage immediately and then just leaving up the card, is that another option as well?
Yeah, I don't really see that. I mean, you don't want the Shaman to have a real creature by the start of your next turn. And apparently Artosis doesn't really care about this.
Well, just gonna go for face instead.
It's not the worst thing ever. The thing is, I mean, you become pretty vulnerable to like a double Lightning Storm play or a spell damage Lightning Storm play. But it doesn't have Lightning Storm.
Nope, he does not, but he does have Defender of Argus to potentially buff up and kill off these Shield Masters.
Yeah, if I was making the play here, I'd probably combine the Defender with a Lightning Bolt. You'll be on 6 mana if you happen to draw a Fire Elemental. And, yeah. You make it so he has to... Oh, certainly Lightning Bolt that. You're essentially forcing the Senjin to trade with the Cairn, and the Cairn ends up staying alive because he comes in a second form.
Well, and even heals up that 1 damage, which is pretty convenient. Makes it a little bit more difficult. Now a second swipe drawn from...
That's a pretty good draw.
From Artosis. Swipe, just one of the best AoE cards you can
certainly we're going to see a swipe here, but it's about how we're going to see the follow-up play.
He still has a Wrath as well to kind of combine that if he wants to, and but he still has to get... So if he swipes and then kills the healing totem, he can use Wrath and Claw combination to finish it off if he wants to.
He might claw the totem here.
Okay.
Yeah. Get his Harvest Golem to 1. Oh, I see what he's doing. Yeah, he wants to get rid of Karen this turn.
Yeah.
This is pretty good play.
I thought he was originally going to attack the...
Lots of options
the totem
there,
with the golem instead and take the damage to his own face.
Lots of options there, but that is a pretty good one. It's interesting that, you know, last turn he decided to push for damage, and this turn he pushes for board control. I'm not sure he has like a very concrete idea of how he wants to finish this game up.
And this puts him in danger zone for Fire Elemental for his Senjin, but unfortunately Koyuki doesn't get the draw immediately.
Yeah, Koyuki's hand is pretty poor. I mean, 2 hexes is pretty strong, Mana Tide's pretty strong, Tickmaster's pretty strong, but you know, these are all cards that kind of do the same thing. You got some draw mechanics and you got the big removal. And right now you got a lot of cards, you have nothing to remove. So it's just, you know, it's kind of that problem where you can run into as a shaman, even sometimes as a priest, where your cards are good, but they just don't match the current situation very well.
Yep, I agree, and I think you know, playing something like the totem and the harvest golem just makes it complete defenseless, so it doesn't really help your position. So Azure Drake just seems very logical from this point of view. Ooh, a nice draw for Artosis.
Absolutely, Ancient of Lore is one of the better cards that you can draw. The main issue is if he casts it, he can't really deal with the board that well. Because I think normally the best play here is to Argus up and do the golem and the hero ability to kill the 4/4. You're left with a 4/4, which survives Fire Elemental. So that's pretty good.
Oh, he's thinking about swipe. And the Argus as well.
Okay, so this is a much more aggressive play where you have a stronger board, but you're down both swipes. So right now, if your opponent can clean up your board, you're probably at a loss.
And that also reveals the second swipe from Artosis, so Koyuki can eliminate it. Shaman, like you mentioned a few times in our last cast, has a hard time healing up, so 11 HP is pretty critical, but if you know your opponents are out of those swipes, it does eliminate some of that threat.
Yeah, he is running 2 Druid of the Claws, but this is not... Even though it seems like a very strong card, it's actually not like a must-have in the deck. And Artosis hasn't revealed one of them. So Koyuki might be thinking that, you know, even though I'm at 11 life, even though this creature's on the board, the burst might be over.
Oh my, a Hex on the Shield Master.
I mean, you have so much removal, you might as well.
Yeah. You still have a Hex and Antique Master in response, and Koyuki needs to start clearing out what's going on here, because he's kind of flirting with dangerous health levels right here. Going down to 8, he's got to do what he got to do.
Yeah, not in the best situation here, but Artosis really doesn't have that many cards left. But if you can draw well, that is certainly not a good card right now.
But I mean, you never know what he draws with the 2 cards. Maybe he gets like a Keeper of the Grove or something along those lines.
Argus, in fact, is quite strong. He can kill the golem for free, or he can push for more damage. I think in the position where your opponent has 8 life, you certainly push for more damage.
Yeah, just kind of continue to pressure. And also you put a 6/6 on the board, maybe. But then at the same time, there's a lot of answers from Shaman as well, because he knows his opponent's been stacking cards for a while. Like something that's kind of interesting mental play of Hearthstone is we see your opponent keep so many cards from the early game, because you can see that he doesn't play much from his right side, or left side rather. It starts kind of toying, well, what does he have in his hand? What does he have in his hand?
Well, that's a pretty nice draw there. I believe we're going to have to see a Hex on the 6/6, a Lava Burst on the 3/4, and probably hope for the best of the Mana Tide.
And looks like that's what's exactly going to be. Good call, Crip. Or will it be? Koyuki's thinking maybe he needs a totem instead. Maybe he's looking for a taunt totem.
Koyuki really needs a taunt. He doesn't have many in his deck. He has
25%. Ooh, and he gets it.
He has the taunt totem, of course, but he has the Alakir and the 1 Defender of Argus that I see. Oh, and the Feral Spirits. I guess he has 3 cards. Yeah, a few cards he can draw into.
Second Ancient of Lore for Artosis.
Yeah, these are excellent draws.
I mean, great.
Ancient Lures are not good to have at the beginning. You just need to draw into one right when you run out of cards. And this happened twice so far in this game.
Very nice.
You really can't ask for much better than that.
If you get something like Keep with the Grow as well, you can also set up a great ability to combo.
Yeah. So right now...
I wonder if Artosis is thinking about Tink mastering his own Hex thing. Because he's hesitating for a long time.
Yeah, it's a pretty good play, but at the same time, when your opponent has this low of life, I mean, just hitting him for one and having it as an option to drop another taunt might be it. Because right now, if Koyuki draws like a Spirit Wolves, he might feel safe, but he wouldn't be.
He could still do it with an Azure Drake, but that's about his last life unless he wants to try to play something else. I'm trying to think about his options here, Crip. What do you think he's got here?
Ragnaros is like a pretty YOLO option.
Game for the Ancient of Lore.
Yeah,
that's about all you can dream of. But then you're also hoping your opponent doesn't have 2 damage in his, or actually 1 damage because of the hero power plus the Argus.
Well, I don't actually see another play.
I guess that's the only option in this regard.
See what happens.
I think Koyuki already kind of knows, and that's kind of the worst outcome. Koyuki won't even let Artosis have the satisfaction. Game number 1 goes to Team DogeHouse.
Well, Artosis has to be feeling pretty good about a win after his last appearance. But, yeah, pretty good stuff. I think he actually played quite well.
I think so too, and kind of like what you were saying before, you were talking about some of the key points of developing the board against the Shaman, and we had a lot of great cards in the hands of Koyuki, but he just never got to seize the tempo at all.
I think he actually played quite well.
I think so too, and kind of like what you were saying before, you were talking about some of the key points of developing the board against the Shaman, and we had a lot of great cards in the hands of Koyuki, but he just never got to seize the tempo at all.
You overload and you can still play Defender next turn.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the Defender at that point.
You did in your hand, yeah.
Yeah, I believe Artosis played fairly inconsistently in the mid game, but at the same time, when you mix it up like that, maybe it has some influence on how the opponent perceives that you want to play.
The reactions.
Yeah, so maybe there actually was, you know, some credit to give him for some next level strategy in this matchup. By coincidence or not.
The first mistake was that you left the healing totem up. You could have killed it with the harvest column on the previous turn, but then later when he had like
when I killed the spell power totem instead?
No,
when you went for face
with harvest column and everything, he had still a healing totem up. You could have killed the healing totem
before playing Defender. Yeah, he had Cairn and healing totem, and you attacked him with everything.
Yeah. The second mistake was when the healing totem was at 1-2, and you used like when you dealt with the Cairn, you could have killed the healing totem with the harvest column, and you could have just claw rat on the Cairn to kill it, so you could have saved the harvest golem
instead of spending harvest golem.
Yes, to finish off the Cairn. But
I actually considered doing that.
Yeah, so it would have been a bit better, but you played really good.
You know, and Artosis actually is one of the players who's famous even back in StarCraft Brood War to overthink opponents. He would be this player that would guess a strategy, and then he would create a counter strategy, but then he would also stop himself and say, wait, he knows I would think that, so he creates a strategy that just loses to the guy playing standard. That is a trademark that he's been known to do, and you never know if he's actually thinking the 3rd level of Inception mind games. He's capable of it.
Well, I'm skeptical.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, game number 2 between Artosis and Koyuki.
See you after the break for more Fight Night. Street Fighter returns to Fight Night, February the 24th, only on ESGN TV.
It's Fight Night, bitches.
If you're not watching Fight Night, you're probably a scrub.
Hey, what's up guys? This is K-Brad, and I'm the hypest guy in the FGC, and you're watching ESGN TV.
Get ready for Fight Night on ESGN TV.
I'm like the least athletic person in the world.